economic event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The head of the Palestinian National Council, Rawhi Fatouh, has rejected the Israeli attack on the Madlin humanitarian ship chartered by the Freedom Flotilla Coalition organization as nothing else but an organized act of piracy. Iran has said it will soon present a counter-proposal on nuclear deal with the United States after it had described Washington offer as containing ambiguities. High-level delegations from the United States and China are meeting today in London to try to save the tariff deals and avert a possible trade war that has already rolled the global economy and sparked fears of recession. Hello and welcome to Radio Algeria International. I'm Mariam Bershi. The Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense and Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, Army General Said Changriha, has chaired the greeting ceremony held on the occasion of Eid al-Adha at the headquarters of the Ministry of National Defense. On the occasion, the Army General conveyed the greetings of the President of the Republic before extending his own wishes to all personnel of the People's National Army.
بداية يطيب لي أن أبلغكم تحيات وتهاني السيد رئيس الجمهورية.
First, I am pleased to convey to you the greetings and congratulations of the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces and Minister of National Defense on the occasion of Eid al-Adha. On this blessed religious occasion, I also extend to you my warmest congratulations and best wishes, praying the Almighty so it returns to you and your families with goodness, prosperity and blessing, and to grant you continued health, wellness, happiness and joy. This occasion is one I always strive to seize by organizing this symbolic ceremony in order to uphold the traditions of the People's National Army, aimed at motivating our officers and personnel to make greater efforts to achieve a fruitful work in the service of the nation's supreme interests.
خدمة للمصالح العليا للوطن.
That was the Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense and Chief of Staff of the People's National Army, Army General Said Changriha. Algeria was awarded the Laybaytoum Gold Award in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, presented by the Saudi Ministry of Hajj and Umrah to recognize institutions and organizations that have distinguished themselves through the excellence of their services to pilgrims. The Minister of Religious Affairs and Waqf of Endowments and head of the Algerian Pilgrim Affairs Office, Mr. Youssef Ben Mahdi, received the award in the category of Major Pilgrim Affairs Offices in terms of supervision from the Saudi Minister of Hajj and Umrah, Mr. Tawfiq bin Fawzan al-Rabia, during the closing ceremony of the 2025 Hajj season. Mr. Ben Mahdi said he was proud of the distinction, which was the result of collective work and rigorous coordination between the various sectors concerned.
Algeria highly deserves this distinction, this honor, winning the Gold Award for all the services provided by the Algerian delegation to ensure the success of the Hajj season. The delegation worked in coordination with Saudi authorities, and thanks to the efforts made by the Brotherly Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Algerian state in the service of the pilgrims, with Allah's blessing, we were able to overcome this challenge with all my brothers in the delegation, whom we thank and tell that this award is the result of their efforts. It is an award dedicated to all of Algeria. We wish many blessings upon the pilgrims and hope they return safely to their beloved homeland.
Earlier, Mr. Ben Mahdi attended the annual reception at the Mina Palace organized by the Saudi Crown Prince or Saudi Crown Mohammed bin Salman on behalf of the custodian of the holy places, the King Salman bin Abdulaziz. The reception was held in honor of Muslim religious dignitaries and heads of delegation who attended this year's pilgrims. Moving on to the situation in the Middle East, as the Palestinian National Council called on the international community to take action to end Israel's aggression on Gaza, at least 8 Palestinians were today killed in bombardments targeting a district of Gaza City. The news agency Wafa stressed that several other people were wounded in the attack, the second to hit Gaza within less than 24 hours. In this connection, the head of the Palestinian National Council, Rouhi Fatouh, urged the international community to put its position into concrete form and put a halt to Israel's war and blockade of the Gaza Strip, which he stressed is becoming a collective cemetery. He underscored that the enclave was confronted to inhumane disaster as the population live in catastrophic and complex conditions characterized by systematic murders and targeting of civilians as the number of deaths increased to reach tens of thousands, mainly women and children. The Palestinian official pointed out that the Israeli army acts of aggression had caused a generalized devastation of infrastructure, including hospitals, schools and shelters, in blatant violation of the very principle of right to live and right to life, as the health system had totally collapsed. The head of the Palestinian National Council, Rouhi Fatouh, has rejected the Israeli attack on the Madeleine humanitarian ship shattered by the Freedom Flotilla Coalition organization as nothing else but an organized act of piracy. He was quoted by the news agency WEFA as saying that the interception of the flotilla within 12 militants and board, including Swedish activist Greta Thunberg, and the ban imposed on the funneling of a symbolic aid to the population of the enclave facing a genocide constituted a blatant violation of international law. He went on to say that the Israeli blockade was yielding every day to a genuine humanitarian disaster, killing scores of children, elder people, and worsening the sufferings of over 2 million people trapped in the Gaza Strip for several years now. In this connection, the Palestinian official urged the international community, the United Nations, and human rights defenders to take up their responsibility and put pressure on Israel to force it to free those abducted who fight for freedom and justice. The International Committee of the Red Cross ICRC has warned that Gaza's healthcare system is on the verge of collapse amid the genocide being carried out by the Israeli army against the Palestinians in the Strip for more than a year and a half. The International Committee of the Red Cross reported that most Palestinians injured in recent incidents in Gaza were trying to reach aid distribution sites. In recent days, hostilities have escalated around the few remaining operational hospitals, putting medical staff and patients at great risk. Pediatrician Saeed Isa Saleh warned that the blockade endangers patients' lives and called for urgent help, especially for children with chronic illnesses.
There is a blockade and all basic necessities of life, fuel, food and medical supplies are being prevented from entering, making the lives of patients severely endangered. At any moment, God forbid, if an ambulance runs out of fuel, patients' lives will be in extreme danger. We call for immediate and just intervention to save the people of Gaza, especially those with special conditions and chronic illnesses such as cerebral palsy, gastrointestinal diseases, liver and nutritional disorders, endocrine diseases, and malnutrition. These conditions affect a very large number of children, especially those under 5 or under 10 years old. In the face of famine, the situation has become far worse than anyone can imagine.
Medical workers face constant exposure to deliberate gunfire, threatening their safety and the continuous work operation of field hospitals. The unprecedented influx of wounded may needing immediate treatment has exhausted the medical teams. The ICRC warned that Gaza's healthcare system is on the verge of collapse. Over the past 2 weeks, the Red Cross Field Hospital in Rafah activated mass casualty response procedures 12 times, treating over 916 patients, including 41 who were declared dead on their arrival. In the United States, the police has declared all of downtown Los Angeles to be an unlawful assembly area and ordered protesters to go home after the third day of violence hit demonstrations against President Donald Trump's immigration policy. Amina Borisha reports.
The National Guard troops, which were deployed by Trump at the weekend to help quell the protests in a move that California Governor Gavin Newsom called unlawful, guarded federal government buildings. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum yesterday called on the United States not to treat migrants as criminals after a raid in Los Angeles in which she confirmed 35 Mexicans were arrested. U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping new travel ban, which bars citizens of 12 countries from entering the United States, come into effect today. The order, which President Trump signed last week, restricts the nationals of Afghanistan, Myanmar, Chad, Congo, Brazil, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen from entering the U.S. Nationals from a further 7 countries, namely Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela, will face partial travel restrictions. The U.S. president said the list could be revised if material improvements were made, while other countries could be added as threats emerge around the world.
Russian forces have shot down 10 Ukrainian drones heading toward Moscow as Ukraine reports at least 10 or at least one person killed in Russian attacks. More details in this report by Amina Borisha.
Regional governors said there were no reports of any damage in Moscow, but the Ukrainian attack led to a short-lived fire at the Azot chemical plant in the neighboring Tula region. Injuring 2 people and 7 drones were destroyed above the Kaluga region. Meanwhile, the latest prisoner exchange between Russia and Ukraine is scheduled for next week. Ukraine said the start of repatriation activities based on results and negotiations in Istanbul is scheduled for next week. It said everything is moving according to plan. Earlier, Russia said that it brought more than 1,000 bodies of slain Ukrainian soldiers to the exchange point while also handing over to Ukraine a first list of 640 prisoners of war. But the Ukrainian negotiators were not at the swap location. Ukraine, however, denied the allegations.
Iran has said it will soon present a counter-proposal on a nuclear deal with the United States after it had described Washington's offer as containing ambiguities. More details in this report by Asya Bakar.
Tehran and Washington have held 5 rounds of talks since April to wash out a new nuclear accord to replace a deal with major powers that U.S. President Donald Trump abandoned during his first term in 2018. On May 31st, after the 5th round of talks, Iran said it had received elements of U.S. proposal, with Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi saying later the text contained ambiguities. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman criticized the U.S. proposal as lacking elements reflective of the previous rounds of negotiations without providing further details. He said Iran will soon submit its own proposed plan to the other side through Oman once it is finalized. He said the proposal is reasonable, logical, and balanced, and we strongly recommend that the American side value this opportunity, as he put it. Iran's parliament speaker has said that the U.S. proposal failed to include the lifting of sanctions, a key demand for Tehran.
High-level delegations from the United States and China are meeting today in London to try to save the tariffs deal and avert possible trade war that has already rolled the global economy and sparked fears of recession. Asya Bakar reports.
The meeting follows negotiations in Geneva last month that resulted in a temporary respite in the trade war between the world's 2 biggest economies. However, the agreement to suspend most of the 100% plus tariffs each had imposed on the other for 90 days has been followed by barbs fired by both sides. U.S. Treasury Secretary, Commerce Secretary, and Trade Representative will meet with a Chinese delegation at an undisclosed location in the British capital. U.S. President Donald Trump, who announced the talks on Friday after a phone call with Chinese President Xi Jinping, wrote on social media that the meeting should go very well. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that the U.S. wants the 2 sides to continue moving forward with the agreement that was struck in Geneva. While the UK Prime Minister Starmer said his government is not involved in the talks in London, a spokesperson said a trade war is in nobody's interests. The meeting comes just a few days after Trump and Xi Jinping held their first publicly acknowledged telephone call since the Republican return to the White House in January.
That's it for today's news bulletin. Stay tuned on Radio Algeria International.